Presentism versus eternalism, unraveling the nature of time. Welcome, friends and dreamers, to another mind-bending episode of Dreamscape Gaming. Today, we're exploring a question that has puzzled philosophers, scientists, and thinkers for centuries. What is the true nature of time? Imagine for a moment. Is the past gone forever, the future yet to exist, with only the present moment being real? Or do all moments in time, past, present, and future, exist simultaneously in a vast, four-dimensional structure? These two perspectives on the nature of time form the basis of our discussion today as we dive into the philosophical debate between presentism and eternalism. Which view best aligns with our understanding of reality? Buckle up, because we're about to embark on a journey through time itself. Presentism, the power of now. Let's start by exploring presentism, a view that might feel intuitively correct to many of us. Presentism argues that only the present moment truly exists. The past has ceased to be, and the future is yet to come into existence. In this view, reality is a constantly evolving now, with each moment giving way to the next. To understand presentism, think of time as a spotlight moving across a dark stage. The illuminated area represents the present moment, the only part of the stage that truly exists at any given time. As the spotlight moves, new areas of the stage come into existence, while others fade into non-existence. This view aligns closely with our subjective experience of time. We live in the present, we make decisions in the present, and we perceive change happening in real time. Presentism seems to capture this immediacy of experience. But what are the implications of presentism? If only the present moment exists, what does that mean for our understanding of identity, free will, and causality? Consider personal identity. In a presentist framework, you are who you are in this exact moment. The you of the past no longer exists, and the you of the future is yet to come into being. This raises fascinating questions about personal responsibility and growth. If the you who made a mistake in the past no longer exists, how does that affect our concepts of guilt, redemption, and learning from our errors? Presentism also seems to align well with our intuitions about free will. If only the present moment exists, then the future is genuinely open and undetermined. Our choices in the present moment shape the reality that comes into existence in the next moment. This view appears to give us genuine agency in shaping our lives and the world around us. However, presentism faces some challenges when it comes to causality. If only the present moment exists, how do we explain the apparent influence of past events on the present? How can something that no longer exists have a causal effect on what exists now? Presentists have proposed various solutions to this problem. Some argue that while past events themselves don't exist, their effects or traces do exist in the present moment. Others suggest that causation should be understood as a relation between facts about moments, rather than between the moments themselves. From a scientific perspective, presentism faces some significant hurdles. Einstein's theory of special relativity, for instance, suggests that there is no universal now moment. The simultaneity of events depends on the observer's frame of reference, which seems to conflict with the presentist view of a single, objective present moment. Despite these challenges, presentism continues to have its defenders in both philosophy and physics. Some argue that quantum mechanics, with its emphasis on measurement and observation, might provide support for a presentist view of reality. Eternalism, the timeless tapestry of existence. Now, let's shift our perspective and explore eternalism, a view that might seem counterintuitive at first, but has gained significant traction in modern physics and philosophy. Eternalism proposes that all moments of time past, present, and future exist simultaneously in a four-dimensional structure often called the block universe. In this view, time is not a flowing river but more like a vast, static landscape. To visualize eternalism, imagine a comic book. Each panel in the comic represents a moment in time, and all the panels exist simultaneously on the page. The characters in the comic might experience time as a sequence of events, moving from panel to panel, but from our perspective outside the comic, we can see all moments laid out before us. This view of time has some profound implications. If all moments exist equally, then the past isn't gone, and the future isn't yet to come. They're all there, forming a complete tapestry of existence. One of the most striking consequences of eternalism is its impact on our understanding of change and becoming. In an eternalist universe, change doesn't really happen in the way we typically think about it. Instead, what we perceive as change is more like a sequence of different states existing at different points in the four-dimensional structure. This leads to some mind-bending conclusions about personal identity. In eternalism, you're not just who you are right now, you're the sum total of all your moments spread out across the four-dimensional block universe. The you reading this script right now exists, but so does the you from 10 years ago and the you 10 years in the future. Eternalism also raises challenging questions about free will. If the future already exists in some sense, does that mean our choices are predetermined? Some philosophers argue that eternalism is compatible with free will, suggesting that our choices, while existing timelessly, are still our choices. Others contend that eternalism leads to a form of determinism. One of the strengths of eternalism is its compatibility with modern physics, particularly Einstein's theory of relativity. The idea of a four-dimensional spacetime in which all events exist together aligns well with relativistic physics. The lack of a universal now moment in relativity seems to support the eternalist view that all moments are equally real. Eternalism also provides an elegant solution to some philosophical puzzles. For instance, it offers a straightforward explanation for how we can make true statements about the past or future. If all moments exist, then these statements have a clear basis in reality. However, eternalism isn't without its challenges. One of the biggest is reconciling it with our subjective experience of time. If all moments exist equally, why do we experience time as flowing from past to future? Why do we remember the past but not the future? Some eternalists propose that our experience of time's flow is a kind of illusion arising from our perspective within the block universe. Others suggest that while all moments exist, there might still be some objective difference between past, present, and future that accounts for our experience. The great debate, presentism versus eternalism. Now that we've explored both presentism and eternalism, let's compare these two perspectives and examine their strengths and weaknesses. Presentism aligns closely with our intuitive understanding of time. It captures our sense of living in the moment, of time flowing, and of the future being open and undetermined. It seems to provide a strong foundation for concepts like free will and moral responsibility. However, presentism struggles to explain certain aspects of our experience, such as memory and anticipation. If only the present exists, what exactly are we remembering or anticipating? It also faces challenges in reconciling with modern physics, particularly the theory of relativity. Eternalism, on the other hand, provides a framework that aligns well with relativistic physics. It offers elegant solutions to philosophical puzzles about the nature of past and future and the truth of statements about non-present times. It also provides a unique perspective on personal identity, seeing us as four-dimensional beings spread out across time. The main challenge for eternalism is explaining our subjective experience of time. If all moments exist equally, why do we experience time as flowing? Why can we remember the past but not the future? Eternalists have proposed various solutions to these problems, but they remain topics of intense debate. Both theories also face challenges when it comes to quantum mechanics. Some interpretations of quantum theory seem to favor presentism, with its emphasis on the role of observation in determining reality. Others align more closely with eternalism. The relationship between time and quantum mechanics remains one of the great unsolved problems in physics. It's worth noting that there are also intermediate positions between strict presentism and eternalism. For instance, some philosophers propose a growing block theory, where the past and present exist but the future does not. Others suggest that while all moments might exist, there could still be an objective now moving through the four-dimensional structure. Implications for our understanding of reality. The debate between presentism and eternalism isn't just an abstract philosophical exercise. How we understand the nature of time has profound implications for how we view ourselves and our place in the universe. If presentism is true, then we truly live in the moment. Our past is gone, Our future is yet to be determined, and our present choices have genuine power to shape reality. This view might encourage us to focus on the here and now, to take responsibility for our actions, and to believe in our ability to change and grow. On the other hand, if eternalism is true, then in a sense all of time already exists. Our past selves are as real as our present self, and our future selves already exist in some form. This view might lead us to take a broader perspective on our lives, seeing them as complete wholes rather than just a series of present moments. These different perspectives on time could have significant implications for fields beyond physics and philosophy. In psychology, for instance, they might influence how we think about memory, decision-making, and personal growth. In religion and spirituality, they could affect our understanding of concepts like eternity, predestination, and the nature of divine knowledge. The presentism-eternalism debate also intersects with other big questions in philosophy and science. How does time relate to consciousness? Is time fundamental to the universe, or is it an emergent property of more basic physical laws? These questions connect the philosophy of time to cutting-edge research in physics, neuroscience, and artificial intelligence. Conclusion: time for reflection. As we wrap up our exploration of presentism and eternalism, it's clear that the nature of time remains one of the most profound and perplexing questions in human thought. Both presentism and eternalism offer compelling perspectives, each with its own strengths and challenges. Presentism captures our intuitive sense of living in the moment and the open nature of the future. Eternalism provides an elegant framework that aligns with modern physics and offers a unique perspective on existence and identity. Both theories continue to be refined and debated by philosophers and scientists. So, which view is correct? The honest answer is that we don't know for certain. The nature of time remains an open question in both philosophy and physics. It's possible that future discoveries or new ways of thinking could radically change our understanding of time. But perhaps the value of this debate lies not just in finding a definitive answer, but in the questions it prompts us to ask. How do you experience time in your own life? Do you feel like you're living moment to moment, or do you sense yourself as a being extended through time? How does your understanding of time affect how you live your life, make decisions, and relate to others? I encourage you to reflect on these questions and to continue exploring the fascinating world of time philosophy. Whether you lean towards presentism, eternalism, or something in between, engaging with these ideas can enrich our understanding of ourselves and the universe we inhabit. Exploring the intricacies, a deeper dive into presentism and eternalism. Welcome back, Dreamscape gaming community. In this extended segment, we're going to delve even deeper into the fascinating debate between presentism and eternalism. We'll explore some of the more nuanced arguments, address common misconceptions, and consider how these theories might intersect with other areas of philosophy and science. Let's dive in. The language of time. One interesting aspect of the presentism-eternalism debate is how it relates to our use of language. Think about how we talk about the past and future in everyday conversation. We say things like, "The dinosaurs existed millions of years ago," or "There will be a solar eclipse next year." These statements seem to imply the reality of non-present times. Presentists argue that such statements can be understood without committing to the existence of the past or future. They might say that when we talk about the past, we're really talking about present traces or records of past events. When we talk about the future, we're discussing present potentials or expectations. Eternalists, on the other hand, can take these statements at face value. If all times exist, then it's straightforward to say that dinosaurs exist in the past part of the four-dimensional block, and that future events exist in the future part of the block. This linguistic aspect of the debate raises intriguing questions. Does our language shape our conception of time, or does our conception of time shape our language? Are there cultures or languages that conceive of time in radically different ways, and what might this tell us about the nature of time itself? Time and identity. Let's delve deeper into how presentism and eternalism affect our understanding of personal identity. This isn't just a philosophical curiosity, it has real implications for how we think about ourselves and our lives. In a presentist framework, you are who you are right now. The you of the past no longer exists, and the you of the future doesn't yet exist. This aligns with the common feeling that we can change who we are, that our past doesn't define us, and that our future is open. But it also raises some puzzling questions. If only the present you exists, what provides continuity to your identity over time? How can you be held responsible for past actions if the you who performed those actions no longer exists? Presentists have proposed various solutions to these problems, often involving the idea that present things, like memories or character traits, can ground our connection to the past. Eternalism offers a very different perspective on identity. In this view, you're not just who you are right now, you're the sum total of all your moments spread out across the four-dimensional block universe. The you reading this script right now exists, but so does the you from your childhood and the you in old age. This view of identity as a four-dimensional object has some intriguing implications. It suggests a kind of permanence to our existence. All of our moments are equally real and equally there. But it also challenges our usual notions of change and becoming. If all of your moments already exist, in what sense do you really change over time? Some philosophers have used the eternalist perspective to develop interesting theories about personal identity. For instance, the philosopher David Lewis proposed a view called stage theory, which suggests that what we typically call a person is actually a series of momentary person stages spread out across time. Free will and determinism. The presentism-eternalism debate also intersects in fascinating ways with questions of free will and determinism. At first glance, presentism might seem more conducive to free will. If only the present moment exists and the future is yet to come into being, it might seem that our choices in the present genuinely shape reality. However, it's not quite that simple. Presentism is compatible with determinism, the idea that the state of the universe at one moment, combined with the laws of nature, determines the state of the universe at the next moment. So even in a presentist universe, our choices might be predetermined by prior causes. Eternalism, with its picture of all moments existing together, might seem to leave no room for free will. If the future already exists, how can our choices be free? But many philosophers argue that eternalism is compatible with certain conceptions of free will. For instance, some argue that what matters for free will is not that the future be undetermined, but that our choices flow from our own reasons, desires, and character. In an eternalist universe, our future choices might already exist, but they're still our choices, reflecting who we are as four-dimensional beings. Others have developed more complex theories. The philosopher Ted Sider, for example, has proposed a view called supertime, which combines elements of eternalism and presentism to create a framework that he argues preserves genuine freedom of choice. Time and consciousness. Another fascinating area where the presentism-eternalism debate intersects with broader questions is in the philosophy of consciousness. How does our subjective experience of time relate to the objective nature of time? We experience time as a flow, with a clear distinction between past, present, and future. We have direct access to the present, memories of the past, and expectations about the future. How does this line up with presentism or eternalism? Presentism seems to align well with our subjective experience. We feel like we live in the present moment, with the past gone and the future yet to come. But presentism struggles to explain some aspects of consciousness, like how we can have vivid memories of the past or detailed anticipations of the future if those times don't exist. Eternalism, on the other hand, provides a framework where all moments of consciousness exist together. This might explain our ability to remember the past and anticipate the future. These capacities could be seen as connections between different points in our four-dimensional existence. However, eternalism faces its own challenges in explaining consciousness. If all moments exist equally, why do we experience time as flowing? Why do we have a sense of now that seems to move through time? Some philosophers have proposed that consciousness itself might play a role in creating our sense of time's passage within an eternalist universe. The relationship between time and consciousness also connects to broader questions in the philosophy of mind. For instance, does consciousness require time, or could there be timeless forms of awareness? How does our experience of time relate to the neural processes in our brains? These questions aren't just philosophical speculations. They connect to cutting-edge research in neuroscience and cognitive science. Studies on how the brain perceives and processes time, how it constructs our sense of duration and sequence, and how it integrates information across time are all relevant to these deep questions about the nature of time and consciousness. Time in physics, beyond relativity. We've mentioned how eternalism aligns well with Einstein's theory of relativity, but the story of time in physics doesn't end there. Developments in quantum mechanics and attempts to reconcile quantum theory with gravity have led to even more mind-bending ideas about the nature of time. In quantum mechanics, some interpretations suggest that the future is fundamentally indeterminate until measured or observed. This seems to align more closely with presentism, or at least with the idea that the future is not fully real until it becomes present. However, other aspects of quantum theory, like quantum entanglement, suggest connections between particles that seem to transcend normal notions of time and space. Some physicists have proposed that quantum effects might be explained by influences moving backwards in time, an idea that seems to fit better with an eternalist perspective. The quest for a theory of quantum gravity, a theory that would unify quantum mechanics and general relativity, has led to even more radical proposals about the nature of time. Some approaches, like loop quantum gravity, suggest that time might be discrete rather than continuous, composed of indivisible units at the Planck scale. Even more dramatically, some theories propose that time might not be a fundamental feature of reality at all, but rather an emergent phenomenon arising from more basic timeless laws. The physicist Julian Barbour, for example, has developed models of timeless physics, where what we perceive as change and time emerges from relationships between static configurations of the universe. These ideas from the frontiers of physics challenge both presentism and eternalism, suggesting that the true nature of time might be even stranger than either theory proposes. They remind us that our intuitive notions of time, shaped by our macroscopic experience of the world, might not capture the fundamental nature of reality. Time and causality. Another crucial aspect of the presentism-eternalism debate concerns the nature of causality. Our everyday understanding of cause and effect seems to presuppose a direction of time. Causes precede their effects. How does this align with presentism and eternalism? In presentism, causality might seem straightforward at first. Events in the present cause other events in the present, which then become the cause of future events. However, presentism faces challenges in explaining how past events can be causes of present effects, given that the past no longer exists in this view. Eternalism offers a different perspective on causality. If all moments exist equally, then the distinction between cause and effect can't be based on temporal priority. Instead, some philosophers have proposed that causal relations should be understood as a kind of dependence relation between events in the four-dimensional block. This eternalist view of causality aligns interestingly with some ideas in physics. In relativity theory, for instance, the light cone structure of spacetime defines which events can be causally related, independent of any universal flow of time. The nature of causality in an eternalist universe also raises intriguing questions about time travel. If all moments exist equally, does this make time travel more conceivable? How would causality work in a universe where effects could precede their causes? These questions have been explored not just by philosophers and physicists, but also in numerous works of science fiction. Time and ethics. The presentism-eternalism debate also has fascinating implications for ethics and how we think about moral responsibility. In a presentist framework, one might argue that we should focus our moral concern entirely on the present, since it's the only moment that truly exists. This could lead to a kind of ethical presentism, where we prioritize immediate actions and consequences over long-term planning or reparations for past wrongs. However, presentism also faces challenges in grounding certain common moral intuitions. For instance, if the past doesn't exist, how can we make sense of the idea that we owe something to the dead or that past injustices demand present remediation? Eternalism offers a different ethical landscape. If all moments are equally real, one might argue that we have moral obligations that extend across time. The suffering of people in the past or future would be just as real as present suffering, potentially demanding equal moral consideration. This eternalist perspective might support a more long-term ethical outlook, emphasizing the moral importance of how our actions affect the future. It might also provide a framework for understanding intergenerational justice and our obligations to future generations. However, eternalism also raises its own ethical puzzles. If all moments are equally real, does that mean we can't really change anything or make the world better? How do we understand moral progress in an eternalist framework? These questions connect the philosophy of time to broader debates in ethics about the nature of moral value, the scope of our moral obligations, and the relationship between time and goodness. Cultural perspectives on time. It's worth noting that the presentism-eternalism debate, while framed in terms of Western philosophy and science, touches on questions that have been explored in various ways across different cultures and traditions. Many Eastern philosophies, for instance, have long emphasized the importance of living in the present moment, an idea that might seem to align with presentism. However, some of these same traditions also speak of the illusory nature of time or the existence of a timeless, eternal reality beyond our ordinary experience. Indigenous cultures around the world often have unique conceptions of time that don't neatly fit into either presentism or eternalism. Some emphasize cyclical notions of time, while others have complex ideas about the interrelation of past, present, and future that challenge linear Western notions of time. Even within Western tradition, there have been varying conceptions of time throughout history. Ancient Greek philosophers like Parmenides proposed ideas similar to eternalism, while others like Heraclitus emphasized constant change in a way that might align more with presentism. Exploring these diverse cultural perspectives on time can enrich our understanding of the presentism-eternalism debate. It reminds us that our concepts of time are shaped by cultural and historical factors, and that there might be ways of thinking about time that go beyond this binary opposition. Living with time, practical implications. As we near the end of our exploration, let's consider how these abstract ideas about the nature of time might affect our everyday lives. If you lean towards presentism, you might be inclined to focus intensely on the present moment. This could align with mindfulness practices that emphasize present-centered awareness. It might encourage a carpe diem attitude, seizing each moment because it's the only one that truly exists. On the other hand, presentism might also motivate a strong concern for the future. If the future is yet to be determined, then our present actions take on immense importance in shaping what will come to be. An eternalist perspective might lead to a different outlook. Seeing your life as a complete four-dimensional object might encourage taking a broader view, considering how your actions fit into the overall shape of your existence. It might foster a kind of equanimity, knowing that all moments of your life, joyful and sorrowful, have equal reality. However, eternalism might also motivate a strong sense of responsibility. If all of your moments are equally real, then every choice you make is permanently etched into the fabric of reality. Of course, these are just potential implications. How one lives their life isn't determined solely by their philosophical views about the nature of time. Nevertheless, reflecting on these ideas can provide new perspectives on how we relate to our past, engage with our present, and approach our future. Conclusion: the ongoing journey of discovery. As we conclude our deep dive into presentism and eternalism, we find ourselves not at an end, but at a new beginning. The nature of time remains one of the most profound and perplexing questions in human thought, touching on everything from the fundamental laws of physics to the subjective experience of consciousness. Presentism offers a view that aligns closely with our intuitive experience of time, emphasizing the reality of the present moment and the openness of the future. Eternalism provides a perspective that meshes well with modern physics, presenting a vision of time as a vast, unchanging landscape of which we're all a part. Both theories have their strengths and challenges, and both continue to be refined and debated by philosophers and scientists. It's possible that future discoveries could radically change our understanding of time, perhaps revealing that reality is even stranger than either presentism or eternalism proposes. But perhaps the greatest value of this debate lies not in reaching a final answer, but in the questions it prompts us to ask. How do you experience time in your own life? How does your understanding of time shape your choices, your relationships, your sense of self? What would it mean to live fully, whether in each present moment or across the entire span of your temporal existence? I encourage you to carry these questions with you, to let them inform your engagement with the world and your reflection on your own experience. Whether you resonate more with presentism, eternalism, or find yourself somewhere in between, engaging with these ideas can enrich our understanding of ourselves and the universe we inhabit. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the philosophy of time. If you've enjoyed this exploration, please remember to like this video, share it with others who might find it intriguing, and subscribe to the Dreamscape Gaming channel for more content that bridges the worlds of gaming, philosophy, and science. Don't forget to leave a comment sharing your thoughts on presentism and eternalism. Are you team living in the moment or team timeless existence? Or perhaps you have a completely different perspective on time. Let's keep this conversation going. Until our next adventure, this is Dreamscape Gaming, where we're always pushing the boundaries of reality, in games and beyond. Remember, whether time flows like a river or stands still like a frozen lake, every moment is an opportunity for discovery, growth, and wonder. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep dreaming. See you in the next video. Before we part ways, I want to thank you for joining me on this journey through the nature of time. If you've enjoyed this exploration, please consider subscribing to the Dreamscape Gaming channel. Your support helps us continue creating content that bridges the gap between gaming, philosophy, and science. Don't forget to like this video if you found it interesting, share it with friends who might enjoy a deep dive into the nature of reality, and leave a comment with your thoughts on presentism and eternalism. Are you team living in the moment or team timeless existence? Let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, this is Dreamscape Gaming, where we're always pushing the boundaries of reality in games and beyond. Keep dreaming, keep questioning, and remember, whether time flows or stands still, every moment is an opportunity for discovery and growth. See you in the next video.